Many people have already decided that Connor Bedard will be the first pick in the 2023 NHL Draft. He is what many scouts call a generational prospect and a franchise player. Because of this, we see teams right now tanking for Bedard and securing the first overall pick, which, without a doubt, will be Connor Bedard. A few of you might be asking, why is Connor Bedard so good? And why are teams tanking to receive him? And what is the NHL's lottery draft and how does it work? In this video, I'll cover all of that for you. So strap in for a bumpy ride. Unlike the NFL, the worst team in the league does not just receive the number 1 overall draft pick. In the NHL, the draft is a lottery to prevent teams from tanking. We see this less in the NFL because there are so many games and each game matters. But because of the NHL has so many games, it's kind of similar to the NBA, but still a little different. In the NBA, the bottom 3 teams all have the same chance. But in the NHL, the worst team still has a better chance than the second worst team. Here exactly is how the NHL lottery draft works. The first round is composed of the 16 teams that did not make the playoffs. The teams that did make the playoffs are ranked based on their finishing in the playoffs the year prior. For the teams who did not make the playoffs, the top 2 winners of the lottery have an opportunity to move up a maximum of 10 spots. Therefore, any team in the bottom 11s of the standings have a shot at winning the first overall pick. This means the 12th worst team in the NHL can only get up to the number 2 pick, and the 15th pick can only get up to the 5th pick. The remaining 14 teams who did not win the lottery are placed based on their ranking in the NHL. The percentages to win the lottery draft are as followed. The worst team gets an 18.5% chance of pulling a ball in the lottery. Then the second worst team has a 13.5% chance, followed by 11.5% for the third, a 9.5% for the fourth, an 8.5% for the fifth, a 7.5% for the sixth, a 6.5% for the seventh, a 6% chance of winning for the eighth. For the ninth pick, there's a 4.5% chance of winning. 10 is 3.5. The 11th worst team has a 3% chance of making it. 12 is 2.5, and the rest are below 2%. Now that we know how teams are trying to get to the number 1 overall pick, we have to know why they're trying to pick up Connor Bedard. Here's how Sportsnet describes Connor Bedard. Bedard isn't the quickest or the fastest player in his draft class, but he has leg strength and skating stride to surprise opponents in transition. The Daily Faceoff says, especially on the power play, his no-look passes are exceptional and he's not afraid to position himself in the slot to create chances. Connor Bedard is currently playing in the WHL, which is the Canadian equivalent to the USHL in America, where he averages 1.18 goals a game for the Regina Pats. He also has a point total of 81 throughout the season, not including the 9 goals and 14 assists he had in the 7 games he played at the World Juniors. To make a long story short, he can get the puck in the back of the net, and that is one of the biggest things NHL teams are looking at right now. But goal scoring is just a stat. The real question is, how can he get set up to score so often? Generating speed. Connor Bedard can generate speed and create separation in the neutral zone, but does not have the incredible speed of Connor McDavid, despite the many comparisons between the two. From what I have watched of Bedard, he generates his speed from IQ. For those who don't know what hockey IQ is, I think my hockey rankings says it best. In a nutshell, hockey IQ is a player's mental capacity to gather all the information available to him or her during a particular game sequence and process it as quickly enough to make it decisions with or without the puck that gives the player and the team a competitive advantage over opponents consistently. When I mean hockey IQ specifically for Bedard, I'm talking about his hands. He can move the puck to mess with defenders and create space against them. His patience is also key to his success. He waits for a defender to open up to him so he can pounce on the mistakes they just made. These mistakes usually result in a goal for Bedard or a great opportunity for his team. Now, I'm not saying Connor Bedard is not fast. He can definitely outskate his defenders, and we have all seen his speed. In fact, his speed definitely puts his defenders on their heels so he can make all of his moves. But by comparing his speed to McDavid, who can skate around his defenders, is just nonsense. His second key to his success, and how I would like to say his standout skill, is his shot, particularly his wrist/snap shot. He uses a curl and drag shot, similar to Matthews and Ovechkin's shots. Instead of a normal wrist shot that takes longer to develop on the ice, the curl shot basically gives a wrist shot a snapping motion. The shot allows him to shoot around his defenders, and it does this by doing a pseudo toe drag and finishing the shot with the puck on the stick's heel, contrary to a wrist shot that goes from heel to toe. The drag motion Connor's shot basically uses defenders to screen their goalie so he can sneak the puck into the goalie's gaps. We have seen Austin Matthews use the curl shot to become a dominant player in the league, and that's what I think the teams in the NHL see in Connor Bedard when debating to tank for him. Now, what I think is his biggest problem when entering the league is that he is not a physical player at all. He is not like McKinnon, who can body players. He is definitely your skill guy who would deke around an entire team instead of ramming right through them. But I don't think this will be a big problem. We have seen guys like Patrick Kane, who's similar in size with Connor Bedard, succeed with their skill. So I'm not worried about this degrading Bedard at all, but he could have a chance of getting injured in the AHL. To recap this video, Bedard uses his IQ to mess with defenders, his legs and power to get around the defenders, and he has a quick patented shot that will get the puck in the back of the net. These attributes are why Connor Bedard will be the first pick of the NHL draft.